And hello there, guys. This is CD Mangaka back with another solo cast of the KeSPA Cup semifinal between ROX Tigers and SK Telecom. Moving on to Game 2. ROX Tigers pretty much just demonstrated everything we love about them. An aggressive peanut, coordinated team dives, a couple of Ash ultimates later in the game that finally allowed ROX Tigers to close things out. A bit more of Smeb's Kennen, and Cry doing pretty well against Cassiopeia. The ROX Tigers have always struggled against SK Telecom just because of the weakness of Kuro against Faker, but Cry didn't really have much of an issue this game, and we do see that Prophet is taken out and Duke is in, so SK Telecom getting a little bit more serious, letting their starting top laner play, and so far, ROX Tigers banning out Echo and Syndra, not wanting Faker to have that champion. He can just single-handedly take over an entire game. SK Telecom gonna go ahead and ban Nidalee and Jace, not wanting Smeb or Peanut to have their champions. Cry still in for the ROX Tigers, so we're not going to see Kuro here, and I don't see why not. I mean, Cry, aside from a couple of Cassiopeia ultimates that did miss, he overall performed fairly well against Faker in the laning phase, and I think that if you're the ROX Tigers, that's what you're looking for in this matchup, just to have that ability to not have that losing lane and let Faker get that kind of advantage that he can just go into the mid game with. And so with the Rise ban now, SK Telecom taking away that champion. Faker got dangerously close to becoming an absolute monster on that one, and the Realm Warp itself was also somewhat difficult for ROX Tigers to deal with, just allowed SK Telecom a global 2 to the collapse. And SK Telecom going to finish out their bans with Ashe, so taking that pick away from Prey. And so we're probably not going to see Misfortune support with that ban, since you usually want to pair it with the Ashe, just so you have the engage in the AD carry. But that is going to leave Karma open for the ROX Tigers. It was banned away from them in Game 1, currently hovering it right now. Don't know if Cry is going to be one to play it, but it is probably going to be a pick for Gorilla, and that is locked in for the ROX Tigers. So they're going to have all of the shields and a bit of the poke damage. Going to probably have a strong support in that dual lane, and SK Telecom, what are they going to respond with? And they also have Bengi in right now, so this is the 2015 World Championship lineup for SK Telecom T1. This is the lineup that finished the final game against Samsung, and you have to remember, in that series, Bengi was 3-0 against the ROX Tigers, and Blank was 0-2. So SK Telecom, they're trying to put up a bit more of a fight in this one. Again, we don't know how much these players have been practicing, how well prepared they are for this tournament, or how seriously they want to take this tournament. Again, they are going to go on to IEM in the future anyway as the defending world champion for that circuit, so they don't have to win anything here. But they are going to go ahead and field a roster that is a bit more experienced and that has shown to be really great before, so we could be in for a very exciting game. So that is going to be Peanut taking Lee Sin and Cry going over to Varus early on. Now, I suppose that Prey, this could actually be a pick for Prey. It operates similar to the Ashe, where since the Jhin has to be stationary for the curtain call, you can then use Cry, not Cry, but you can use the Varus ultimate to snare him down, or you can just go ahead and poke him with the piercing arrow and just chunk him down. Varus's poke gets really strong once he starts building a lot of AD, so this could be just ROX Tigers going for a lane counter pick here, and that's something that's been fairly popular within League of Legends ever since Riot Games did away with lane swaps with the changes of turrets. SK Telecom has the Jhin, as mentioned earlier, and Bengi going ahead with the Olaf, and currently hovering over Nami and Victor right now. We'll have to see what they go for. And that is going to be and those picks are going to be locked in. So going to have Wolf take on a range support this time, not going to play a melee support. So he's going to have a bit more powerful laning phase. Going to be able to trade with the Karma, have a couple of heals as well. Quite a bit of disengage so far, but we'll have to see what they round out their composition with, because one thing that's worrying about me with SK Telecom's composition is the lack of hard engage. You're basically relying on Bang to hit someone with the Jhin ultimate or with the Deadly Flourish, and the Maokai could be just what the doctor ordered for SK Telecom, and that is going to be locked in for Duke. And so the last two picks for ROX Tigers were Vladimir for Cry, and Smeb just going to go ahead and play Kennen again in the top lane. So let's see where these parts are going to fall into, but Vladimir being left open for Cry, going to be able to sustain well against the Victor. Going to combo incredibly well with the Kennen, since there's just so much AP AoE damage on that team. Plenty of hard engage. You can catch somebody out with the Varus ultimate. the Chain of Corruption. Perhaps Karma can land a root, or Peanut can go ahead and insect somebody. So ROX Tigers have a lot of engage, and so getting the Vladimir for that great sustained damage as well as just for a strong laning phase is going to be really beneficial for them. SK Telecom going to get some hard engage with Duke playing Maokai. He's been very good on tank champions this season. And so we're going to have to see, though, if Smeb is going to be able to bully Duke around in that top lane or not. ROX Tigers, though, they do seem to like some damage with Duke. So Duke has the ability to become an immortal tank just because there's not really any sort of high DPS. There's no Cassiopeia. There's nothing like... There's not really much hyper carries at the AD carry position in the game right now. I guess you could say an Ashe in the late game or a Sivir to really eat through a tank line. And so if this goes late for SK Telecom, they're going to have a front line that's going to be fairly difficult for the ROX Tigers to deal with. But I think the ROX Tigers have a lot more die potential with their front line. It's not so much about holding the enemy down. It's more about just like getting massive bursts of AoE damage and amplifying it. Anyways, boys and girls, it's time to look at the rosters. We have Smeb in the top lane on Kennen, Peanut in the jungle on Lee Sin, Cry once again subbing in for Kuro at the mid lane with Vladimir, Prey playing as Varus, and Gorilla onto the Karma pick, and they are going to be on blue side, and the red side it is your defending world champions SK Telecom T1 with Duke in the top lane coming in for Prophet on the Maokai, Bengi substituting in for Blink on Olaf, Faker rocking the Victor mid, Bang on his ever so lovely Jhin, and Wolf onto the Nami. And with that, boys and girls, let's go ahead and get into Game 2 of the KeSPA Cup 2016 semifinal. All right, and we are in no delays this time, and we have Duke back in there. He was a very important part of SK Telecom's team. He's always been someone who's struggled kind of with like the global coordination, you know, like answering teleports or flanking, but he's always been a very strong laner, and he's been a good role player. In the last game of the World Semifinal, he played Poppy against Smeb's Jason. I mean, he did pretty well into that, and speaking of Smeb, starting out with a Cole. So, fairly bold start, but at the same time, what's a Maokai really going to do against that? Kennen has the range to poke down the Maokai, going to be able to just farm that Cole up and cash it in. So Smeb going for a fairly greedy start, and we're seeing a bunch of ROX Tigers members grouping in, and there is a ward going down, and they are going to catch on to Bang with the Mantra Q, but just a bit of poke damage, and he's going to go ahead and recall right now, and so not much being gained from that. Prey just avoiding the dual lane of SK Telecom. Going to get some damage on the Wolf. Going to confirm which spell that he took. It's actually the Blight Varus skin. I can't remember if that's the full name of it, but cool skin. It's one that we don't see too often just because you kind of usually see like Heartseeker Varus or Special Ops Varus, or I guess the new one, man, I can't remember what the new one is called. It's the one that was released with the threat. Darkstar Varus. I think that's it. I had to brush up on my skins, guys. I'm a fraud. Anyways, so we're going to go ahead. Here are a couple more stats for you right now. In terms of in Worlds Round 4, SK Telecom won, but it was close series. That is a translation that needs some improvement right now, I believe. That is, I don't know what that said. Someone help me out. Someone, Spo TV, step up your production. All right, and so we're going to go ahead and see everyone just sort of pretty much settle into the standard lanes right now. Gorilla did take Ignite in that bottom lane, so he wants to go for that kill pressure, cut off Wolf's ability to heal himself or Bang up when the all-in happens. And don't worry about Banging so much. Olafs usually get this low just so they can sustain a little better. And right now, ROX Tiger is currently getting a lot of pressure in with this dual lane. Just the poke from Varus and from Karma. Pretty brutal early on in the game, and SK Telecom finally going to get level 2 with that, and so they're going to be able to sustain quite a bit. And Peanut, walking on over, did a full blue side clear and is currently looking to get on to Bengi at the red side. We saw this before at the World Championship when he solo killed Bengi kind of early on, about level, at the point. And Bengi going to go ahead and catch him out. And Peanut going to miss the resonating strike, but Bengi is going to be forced back, not going to be able to farm the red buff. And so Cry currently shoving Faker in, so that's going to be very difficult for them to respond to. And Peanut just going to go ahead, leave a ward, and he's going to head down towards the red side jungle. Has a free pass since Cry pushed up in the mid lane. And so no early action, though there was a bit of a threat. And so far, Duke, even in CS with Smeb, not too bad. Did start Corrupting Potion, but looks like he's all out of charges, so he's not going to be able to sustain through the incoming waves of poke from Smeb. We'll have to see how aggressive the ROX Tigers top laner wants to be. And Bangy going to go ahead and start up this red buff. He is going to be on a ward, so ROX Tigers are going to have this information as Peanut is complete his own red. And SK Telecom going for all in. There's the exhaust from Wolf, and Prey trying to charge up a piercing arrow. Heal pop by Bang, just trying to get in for the kill, and that might not have been worth it, really. So that's an important summoner spell down for Bang. He's currently at full health, though, and SK Telecom does have positioning in this lane, but they traded 2 summoners just to get a single summoner out of Prey in an all-in, and they didn't get much for it, but Prey is going to be out of mana, and it looks like he is going to go ahead and base while Gorilla's just going to stay behind and try and pick up some of the farm. Knows that he's at a fairly low risk of being dove since they saw Bangy out of the top side of the jungle. Bangy already backed, picked up the Hunter's Potion. Just trying to sustain a bit more, farm the jungle a bit, try and power farm at level 6, and then make his way down a couple other lanes. And so far, we see the difference already, both within just the top lane matchup right now. Maokai having sustain, Duke's already backed him, teleported in, and now has a Doran's Ring just for the extra mana sustain, bit of extra AP to improve his trade. Smeb hasn't backed yet, still farming up his coal, and he's just going to go ahead and just, kind of accept that. But there is a window for ROX Tigers once Smeb hits 6 that maybe he can go teleport in the bottom lane, and Duke can't follow, and that could be the beginnings of a snowball for ROX Tigers forming. And now the bottom lane is just going to get worse for the ROX Tigers. Prey forced it back early just to pick up his tier. He wants to stack that, needs that in order to keep up his poke. Meanwhile, 2 long swords for Bang, and so now the early advantage that the ROX Tigers did have in the bottom lane just with the amount of poke basically evaporated with the item discrepancy, and that's one reason why we don't see a lot of Varus AD carry, because he has to invest into the tier to keep his mana pool big enough to sustain his ability to poke. In a dual lane, that's just something that a good dual lane can capitalize on and punish. A little hard to do so with mid lane, and we're seeing once again that Cry has a bit of a minion lead on Faker right now, but with him backing right now, with Faker returning to mid lane, Faker's going to make that up, no sweat. And so far, ROX Tigers has a bit of a minion wave, just going to try and push his wave in, just keep pressure on the map. And so far, just a bunch of backs coming in. Smeb used a teleport to come to the top lane, so we're not going to see him try and capitalize on a dive. Does have the Hextech Revolver, though, so going to be a bit better for him. And Duke, though, using his level advantage to take a trade with Smeb and force him down, but Smeb not going to even burn a potion in that trade, just going to use the sustain that's in Revolver to come back up, looks like. And so far, Bangy just farming grub while Peanut is making motions down toward the bottom side of the map. ROX Tigers have a pink ward in the brush, and the wave is bouncing back, so SK Telecom going to have to walk forward. Bang doesn't have heal. ROX Tigers have that timer, but Bangy is going to come down. Level 6 to Peanut's level 5, and so that is going to be a disengage from ROX Tigers. Not going to take that fight anymore, but looked like Prey got hit by a bubble, but took a little bit of damage for that. And now Bangy with his level advantage. Going to go ahead and threaten this side of the map. And now here's going to be some ultimates being traded between Cry and Faker, but Cry getting dangerously lower and lower and lower. He is going to be able to sustain up, though, but Peanut's come in here right now. Faker flashing the Resonating Strike, going to get out. And that's going to just be trade a couple summoners, but Faker forced the flash while Cry not burning his own. So going well for him so far, but Wolf just coming up trying to land some poke on a Prey. Great shield from Gorilla to stop the damage from the Ebb and Flow, if I remember that spell correctly. And so, couple action, bit of tension, some summoners being burned, but ultimately nothing substantial happening, not any kills coming through, not anything to really snowball off of. And man, Gorilla is on point with these Karma Shields, just blocking any sort of damage onto Prey as it comes in. That lets Prey try and weather this storm while he's in this power trough with the tier. That's going well, but now we see actually in the top lane, Smeb getting a bit of a farm lead for himself of about 10 CS. Gorilla initiating a trade, dodging the Deadly Flourish, but Prey not able to follow up, and so here comes the retaliation from SK Telecom. Bang! Gonna flash in with the Q and the crit, but Gorilla living through that ever so barely. And that is going to be a flash down for Bang, and so that makes him a prime target for a gank. Meanwhile, Duke going to go ahead and burn the Vengeful Maelstrom. Is that what it's called? If it's really called Vengeful Maelstrom, there's going to be a lot of Maelstroms in this game, I believe. That's amusing if I'm remembering my spells right. I could be wrong. research is something I am going to have to improve on, for sure. Anyway, so everything's going to settle right now. ROX Tigers with just a little bit of a gold lead right now, but nothing too substantial. Namely, just coming up from Smeb having 400 over Duke, and he's going to be nearing the completion of his coal, so that's going to be that. And Cry going to put a ward down onto SK Telecom's blue buff. And Bengi's going to go ahead and back off and not take that for himself. I'm sure that SK Telecom would love to give that to Faker, since that is a resource champion. Bengi going to come on over, resonating strike going wide by Peanut, and so Bengi just going to get the ward. And ROX Tigers going to dedicate a pink to clearing that out. Alright, now Bengi going to go ahead and start the blue buff, and looks like Faker's going to motion his way over there and pick it up. ROX Tigers are going to see this, and that's going to be very important for Faker to have. It's going to let him be able to use his spells and keep up with the wave clear against Vladimir, a resourceless champion. Well, he uses health, but he also regens it, so. And here we go. So Peanut, both junglers are around the mid lane right now. And we're seeing this a lot more. Like, there's a bit more attention being paid to mid lane. Bengi is hovering around it a bit more. Peanut's kind of eyeballing it a little bit as well. And the dual lane of ROX Tigers is going to get pushed into the bot. There is a Dirk for Prey now, which is going to be a little nice for him. But here comes Maokai, just Duke again, taking a trade with Smeb. Going to take him down pretty low in that engage, actually. So that's going to be some good chunk damage. Meanwhile, Peanut going to try and make his way down in the bottom lane, but there is a ward. But that's not going to stop them from going for this one. Prey lands the Chains of Corruption onto Bang. Doesn't have Flash, remind you, and that is going to be First Blood going over to Peanut. Great awareness from ROX Tigers to punish Bang for using that summoner earlier, trying to go for the kill on the Gorilla. Great accuracy from Prey just to lock them up, and that's a quick kill and First Blood on the board for ROX Tigers. And with Peanut getting that kill, now we have the word that Peanut is activated right now, and he's going to be running up to that mid lane, has the Dragon's Rage online for him, and Peanut just, Peanut? Got a Mantra E, but he's not going to be moving at all from it, and alright, they're just going to go ahead and back off. Faker didn't have Flash either, but he did have Ghost. I guess they just were evaluating if they had the ability to catch him out or not. That's going to be the Chaos Storm from Victor, barely missing out on the kill on Cry. Didn't use a single summoner spell. What a cool head from Cry. Coming out pretty well from him in that case. And so with that, though, SK Telecom trying to get some pressure in here. Bang, gonna eat a Resonating Strike from Peanut as he just wanted his wolves, and Bang just gonna go ahead and burn the Ragnarok and the Ghost to get out of there. Doesn't know where the rest of ROX are. Didn't want to get collapsed on by Smeb. And so he's gonna escape right there, and Smeb cashed up his coal, but Peanut still chasing, and he's going to eat an axe, and that's going to be the end of that chase. And so that's going to be the Scuttle Crab going over the ROX Tigers, and so now the bottom lane is going to neutralize just a little bit. If Prey had gotten the kill, he could have caught up a little bit to Bang in terms of build, just because of the gold sink that the tier was for right now, and Duke just going to go ahead and take another trade with Smeb. Smeb getting dangerously low right now. Duke not going to have the cooldowns back up, though, to re-engage on that, and so far, he's blowing him around, but Smeb going to flash for the stun onto Duke, but the Resonating Strike is going to connect, and they don't want to kick Duke into Smeb because he could actually get killed right now. And now Bengi is already on the top side of the map. There's the kick from Peanut. You're disrupting both of them. Going to miss the Resonating Strike, however, and Bengi going to get stunned up. Doesn't have the Ragnarok, and ROX Tigers trying to make it out with their lives. A close engagement, but no kills between either team. Very well played from both sides. Smeb trying to get the flash on. If Duke was able to get caught into the Slicing Maelstrom, would have been a completely different story, I think, but Peanut didn't want to kick Duke into Smeb and let him finish off that kill. Great awareness right there, not tunneling on the kill and just realizing that they would have taken a one-for-one trade there of the odds. And so now Faker gonna do a little bit bullying on Cry. There's the Chaos Storm again going down, and Cry just gonna go ahead and pool the second tick of damage. And that is that ultimate down from Faker, gonna be able to just shove the next wave in. And yes, it is Vengeful Maelstrom. That is the name of Maokai's ultimate. So there's a lot of Maelstroms. It's a stormy day on Summoner's Rift, to say the least. Portal Belt completed for Smeb, and the coal is cashed out. Hasn't sold it yet. Gonna just sit on that for the little bit of items it has. And so far, everything's just kind of going to settle in right now. And Cry's been performing pretty well in this case. And he is at a little bit of a CS deficit with Faker, but he's been doing these trades fairly well. And he's had a very cool head with the Summoner spell. Just seems to understand the limits of Victor's damage as well as just his own survivability with Vladimir. So, gotta give hats off to Cry. He's performing pretty well right here. And Peanut just going to go ahead and take the blue buff for himself. Vladimir doesn't really need that. And it's just going to be continuing of laning and trades for this game right now. 13 minutes in, no one's been able to get a sizable enough lead for Dragon side, or to look at Dragon. But we see that Bengi and Wolf have done some work in warding up the red side of ROX Tiger's jungle. And right now we're seeing that Peanut going to land the resonating strike, but not going to take it in. Doesn't know where Bengi is currently. Not a lot of deep vision for ROX Tigers. So, and now since the dual lane knows where Peanut is on the map, they can go ahead and be a little more aggressive right now. Especially since ROX Tigers don't know where Bengi is. That's the key thing that's happening right now. But Peanut already going to be moving down toward the bottom side. Trade going up here. Chains of Corruption down onto Bang. Gorilla going to be taking that shot. Smeb is going to be teleporting in. He's about a hair second earlier than Duke is. Bang going to flash out away from Peanut's resonating strike. But there's a slicing maelstrom from Smeb. Here's the vengeful maelstrom. It's a stormy day in bottom lane as 2 kills go over to ROX Tigers. Bangy going to come in down right now, trying to make something out of it. Smeb barely living with the Karma shield, and there's going to be another kill. But Bangy going to land 1 axe and finish off Smeb. He's trying to finish off Gorilla now. Should be able to get the kill before going down himself. And that is another trade. Faker zoned off by Cry, unable to join his team, forced to run away as Cry all in him. And that is a 3-for-2 trade, or probably 4-for-2 actually trade for the ROX Tigers. Yes, it's 4-for-2. They had 1 kill before, and now it's 5. I can count. And Peanut is going to be looking to take away this blue buff right now as the bottom lane is shoved in. Let's go ahead and look how this starts up. So the dual lanes are going in because they saw the junglers in top side. And with the engage, Gorilla and Prey just land the snare onto Bang. Now, Smeb gets a head start on the teleport, and Peanut is already coming down. Bang barely gets out. That's able to let him get a little bit more damage onto Prey. Duke just trying to come in, gets kicked away by Peanut. And then Bangy comes in with the Ghost. Now, if you look on the minimap, Prey, or Faker, and Cry are both running down to the team, and Cry just dumps his spells onto Faker right now, chunks him out, and force Faker to run away, unable to help out Bangy. Because if Faker gets down there, he could potentially clean it up. But Cry, following Faker on the roam, chunking him out, prevents ROX Tigers from totally losing that out on that fight. And Dragon's still going to be up for right now. It's going to be one of those few Dragon kind of games. It seems like as everything kind of just equalizes, but ROX Tigers coming out vastly ahead. And once again, we see it that when it comes to the team working together and responding across the map, ROX Tigers are just a step ahead of SK Telecom. And that's something that's very cool to watch with this team. And that's something I think that's going to be fondly remembered, because with some of the rumors that are occurring right now with roster moves, we could see this ROX Tigers lineup, or at least some of the players, leave it. So we'll have to see, of course, what happens. The teams have come out before and, refuted roster changes from happening, but we don't know, if they're actually going to follow up on that. And there's going to be a chain of corruption whiffing from Prey, and so that's going to stifle that gank from Peanut. But since ROX Tigers and SK Telecom now know what's going on, Bang is going to go ahead and show his face and clear out a couple of wards. It's going to be another ward down, and so top lane going to keep going on. And Smeb been able to build up about a 20 CS lead for himself over Duke. And Duke, we've criticized him before for his teleport plays, but he's done fairly well in this case. He's been able to follow Smeb. He was a hair trigger behind before, but still, he's had a fairly okay game. I mean, just the damage dealers, Maokai isn't really at the point where he's ungodly tanky before, and Bang getting really low and forced to use some summoner spells and not having enough mana to really follow up really means that Duke's impacts are somewhat limited. Anyways, there is going to be an engage from the side of SK Telecom. There comes the tidal wave, going to catch on to Gorilla as the force curtain call comes through, and Bang is going to go ahead and finish up that kill. But that's 3 ultimates burned for a single kill. Not looking so good for SK Telecom in that sense, but it's early on the game, and a pick like that is going to be incredibly important. Bit of a trade up in top side with Duke just able to use the low cooldown of Vengeful Maelstrom to do some poking onto Smeb and take another favorable trade. But it looks like Faker was forced to back, use the Chaos Storm earlier. So let's go ahead and just see this gank. So Bang opens up the Deadly Flourish, but doesn't get a snare since that ability wasn't ready to proc. But a great tidal wave into bubble by Wolf to hold Gorilla down. Prey trying to run in front of him to body block the last shot of the curtain call. Not going to work out in this case. And with that bot lane pressure, SK Telecom is going to turn on to the Ocean Drake and be able to pick that up at 18 minutes in. ROX Tigers going to spot this out with a Trinket War, but not much they can do. And it's another Cloud Drake coming in. looks like fairly similar drinks to what we have last game. So not going to be super impactful, and Duke just going to be looking towards trying to trade, and he's already becoming somewhat scarily tanky. Smeb's not going to be able to have a lot of split pressure, but Gorilla coming up onto Faker, going to get the snare onto him, but takes half of his health bar with the retaliating Death Laser. You can see why they call it that. Interesting build from Faker here, actually. He itemized just one part of the Hextech core just to get the extra proc on the Death Ray, and then he went for Morella Nabicon. When you do that, it makes sense, though. Having the extra mana and having the Grievous Wounds is able to let him wave clear against the Vladimir as well as trade and prevent Vladimir from regenerating so much. So a good adaptation from Faker given the matchup. Meanwhile, Bangy just going to take a Righteous Glory for himself, let him run into the back line and engage a lot more. A couple members hanging around the mid lane, not much action happening, and Peanut still sitting on his usual Poacher's Knife and Ward, and there's Bangy popping the Righteous Glory, going to be going in onto Peanut, lands the slow, but Peanut just going to be able to ward hop away and cry. Just going to kind of hang out, dodge an axe. I'm a vampire. It's cool. And that's just going to be an item cooldown burn from Bangy, not too big of an investment. It's going to let SK Telecom clear out a ward. And then Prey going to be putting on his sidestep right now for the curtain call, and Bang only hitting one shot on a Gorilla. Going to go ahead and take a piercing arrow right now. And with Peanut in here, could we see a flash engage from Prey? Yes, we do. And now Bang's going to get caught out. Greedy by Play. Well, that didn't come together too well. Greedy of Bang not to flash Prey's ultimate. He just went ahead, got hit by it. Maybe it was just like a second from being back from cooldown. I'm not sure. Maybe I missed that part of it, but Bang gonna get caught out, and so that's gonna be another kill for ROX Tigers, and they're gonna go ahead, just have Smeb just finish his teleport in the bottom lane, gonna pop the Slicing Maelstrom, force the exhaust and the Tidal Wave out from Wolf, and that's gonna be a bottom lane tower for ROX Tigers, again taking the first turret of the game by just coming into the bottom lane with Smeb. Duke just gonna hang out in the top lane. He canceled his teleport and is just going to push in the top wave. Meanwhile, ROX Tigers are going to go in onto this inner mid tower. They have a lot of AD and some of the attack speed buffs with Lee Sin, and that is going to be a second tower for ROX Tigers off of this dive, while Duke is barely going to get this top lane tower for SK Telecom. And that is a huge win for ROX Tigers, extending the gold lead to 5K once again. And it's the same thing we've seen before. And now, one thing to point out, as Faker just drops the Chaos Storm and his Cry is just going to walk away coolly, not even burning another summoner again, is that it seems like with Cry, he's able to at least hold his own in lane against Faker. That it is then, with Faker bottled up like that, Faker doesn't have the ability to roam across the map and match these plays from the ROX Tigers. And so with that element in, ROX Tigers are able to play to their usual style and not have to worry about Faker impacting the map. This is something that, if the ROX Tigers lineup does stay together, I do hope that we see a bit more of Cry against SK Telecom at the very least, or maybe just more of Cry in general. I think there's some potential for him to be an average mid laner, but one that doesn't have such glaring weaknesses against Faker that Kuro does. And so now Smeb is just going to be in the bottom lane, catch this wave from the duo of SK Telecom. Cloud Drake is not going to spawn for another couple of minutes. Baron is live on the map right now, but I don't think either team is going to be too interested in it. They don't really have the great sustained damage to take it right now, while the other team is up. And so we're just going to go ahead and settle into things for a little bit. Have a bit of a respite. But SK Telecom able to close out some of that gold deficit. It's only down to about 3,000 now. The top lane tower from Duke certainly helping. And now we're seeing some lane assignments coming in from ROX Tigers. We have Varus coming up in the mid lane. That's exactly where you want him. You want him to be able to be in the mid lane, be sieging down the tower and poking it down. Meanwhile, you have the Vladimir split pushing. Not really many people can duel him right now or kill him, so he's going to be able to do that. Smeb in the bottom lane, though, going to shove in the next wave and doesn't have teleport, and Duke has his, so SK Telecom has a very real chance to, if they control vision around the mid lane well and give Duke the opportunity to flank in, they could catch out the members of ROX Tigers that are in the mid lane with these lane assignments. And Smeb going to be found out by Bangy, who pops the Righteous Glory, and Smeb forced to flash over the wall, but here comes the curtain call, and Smeb in a corner right now, forced to proto away, and he is not going to get out. That is a dead Euro. Smeb just uncaught out on a rotation, walking into the fog of war. Bit of a mistake on his part. You know SK Telecom is hovering in the mid lane. You don't have control of that push. Take a safer path through. And so that's going to be a kill for SK Telecom. Now let's see what they can do with this if they're able to do that. They were burned The Curtain Call and the Ragnarok for that play. Vengeful Maelstrom going to be up soon enough. Prey using the corrupting chains of corruption rather to force the flash out of Bang. So Bang not going to get caught out this time, and that summoner spell is going to be on cooldown. So a bit of retaliation and aggressive itemization coming in from Peanut once again. He has a completed Mob Memoridius. In fact, we have 2 Mob Memoridiuses for ROX Tigers. But with all this action in the mid lane, Faker's going to go ahead and have time to split push this bottom tower down. The bottom tower down. Let's try that. I swear I can speak English. And Tidal Wave for an engage is pretty much sidestepped. Bit of a reach there, Wolf. Bit of a reach. And so SK Telecom going to get a bottom lane turret, and they're going to close the gold deficit just a little bit more right now, as Dragon is going to be spawning, and they have some advantageous positioning over it. It is a Cloud Drake, though, but having the Cloud Drake is going to be able to let them dodge some of the Varus poke a little bit easier, so it is going to help with that at the very least. Anyway, so here's Smeb just walking through. He doesn't see Bangy on the map, and Bangy's just going to be able to catch him out. He tried to get away with the flash area, but with that, he just gets cornered. Not much more else he can do. Meanwhile, we just see SK Telecom go ahead and take the Cloud Drake for free. And the next Drake is going to be another Cloud Drake. Seems like these are the exact same dragons we had last game. Thinking emoji. And so, only a 2k gold deficit, and this is honestly a very good spot for SK Telecom to be in right now. Duke already has his GA completed, so that's going to be one hell of a tanky Maokai to deal with. Curtain Call going down. Not going to be able to find prey. Fourth shot will. But not much to follow up with that one. And Bangy and Duke currently looking at an opportunity to go on to Smeb. He doesn't have flash. You have to remember that. Duke going to go ahead and burn the flash with a twisted advance to go on to Smeb. Smeb just going to be probably going to die right here. That is a quick kill for the SK Telecom members. And so Smeb not having a great game right now. He's had like a teleport flank, but really it was just sort of those like overkill on those flanks, it felt like. Not really instrumental on that one. And Duke is just going to be hard to kill. But meanwhile, Peanut, though, finding Faker and burning his flash over the wall. That's going to be another summer spell cooldown. So the carries of SK Telecom don't have any flashes. Meanwhile, with all this action, Cry is going to be able to get some respite for ROX Tigers by pushing up on this top lane tower. We see Gorilla and Peanut making their way over, trying to respond to Faker and Wolf that are up there. And Cry gonna go ahead and engage on that. They don't have. Remember, Faker doesn't have flash. That was burned earlier. The damage is gonna go down on the Faker. He's gonna get lower and lower and lower. He's not dead yet, right though. Wolf from heal. A heal from Wolf coming in right there, and that is going to be a kill on to Faker. Duke responding with a teleport prey. Gorilla going down, but Smeb's going to come in. He does have the Slicing Maelstrom as Cry going to be able to sustain a bunch of his health back on this fight. And there's a Slicing Maelstrom from Smeb. Going to be able to stun the members of SK Telecom, but Smeb just not taking enough. He's burned. He's blew his load, guys, and that is going to be a dead Kennen. Smeb not getting much out of that one, and Duke still chasing on to Cry. He's going to be able to use his pool to get away, get a little bit more of a heal, but he's just buying in time. It's only a matter of inevitability, my friend, and that is another kill for Duke. But meanwhile, as this goes on, Prey just been pushing the mid lane, and that's going to be another tower down, and the outer tower, no less, of mid for the ROX Tigers. Now, Prey and oh, massive outplay. Great awareness from Prey, not to just run away from Bang, but instead to use Varus' own range, poke him down with the Chain of Corruption and the Piercing Arrow, while Peanut flanks from the side and kills him. Great little bit of play from the ROX Tigers, and it is action everywhere. So it starts here with Cry flashing onto Faker. Faker burned his flash earlier when Peanut went onto him, so the ROX Tigers see an opportunity to go onto him. Now, Faker is going to be able to sustain a little bit through Wolf's efforts, the exhaust and the heals, and then Duke is able to teleport in. He actually beats Smeb to the teleport, I think just because Smeb just revived. And the Smeb wants to be able to turn this around, but you see the front line of SK Telecom is just so tanky right now that there's nothing much they can do. We can see that Prey is walking up to join his team, but instead he decides to not go for it. Instead he just turns on the mid lane, push that tower down since you have all of SK Telecom distracted. So very smart heads-up play just to go for the objective. Rather than have SK Telecom defended with the Victor wave clear, you have this opportunity to take it down. So great heads-up play just to make a bit more headway on the map for ROX Tigers. But the gold lead, dead even. And these team fights so far have been going in the favor of SK Telecom. Now the Lord Dominix is going to be completed for Prey. So he's going to be able to deal with some of the armor stacking. A Dead Man's Plate for Duke, just wants to have the move speed come in, and here's a sick play right there. Prey just turns on to Bang with the Chains of Corruption as Peanut comes in from the side, and they're able to finish up the kill. Just a great counter play, and that's why you see this Jhin countered by Varus. That's why you see Varus show up in this case. SK Telecom, though, trying to retaliate with a bit of damage on the mid lane tower. Peanut going to get seen by a couple members not caught by anything. Just going to show off a couple Lee Sin mechanics. Nothing too special here as they try and go over for the blue buff. Bangy, though, sees that they're doing it. And it is going to be a smite for Peanut to secure it. Not too big of a deal. Vladimir, not really a champion that necessarily needs that blue buff. Would have been beneficial for the cooldown reduction and the AP. But Peanut can make some use of it, too. And so now things are calming down, and it's rare to see an SK Telecom game where Faker has 0 kill participation. That's something to think about right now. Just in this case, Cry has been able to do fairly well in this case, and Faker's just been caught out a couple of times, and he's tried to all-in Cry, but he hasn't been able to kill him. But I mean, he might be able to catch him right here. Cry gonna go ahead and burn the ghost. He's gonna go ahead, try and turn the damage on with the Hemoplague. Chunks out Faker nearly to half health, but that is gonna be a kill. Faker getting his first kill of the game on the board. There I was, I caster jinxed it. Even though it's already happened, I caster jinxed it. That is how influential I am, guys. Anyways, Bang gonna be spotted out here by Peanut, who's just gonna be running around chasing him. Not gonna catch him there, and there's the Cloud Drake, I guess, playing a little bit of effect into that. Bang, now that he's far enough away from Peanut and Prey, he's gonna open up with the curtain call to engage. There comes the tidal wave. They're members of SK Telecom gonna come in. Twisted advance onto Peanut with the arcane smash going on through. ROX Tiger just trying to kite this one back. Peanut used the Dragon Rage finally onto Duke, force him back, and SK Telecom not gonna get anything out of that one. And Smeb down by his team, but nothing else really gonna be picked up by SK Telecom. So, a good disengage by the side of ROX Tigers, but with that, SK Telecom is going to be able to set up for the Cloud Drake, going to take a second one for themselves, and get us started onto the path to the Elder Dragon. So it's not going to be too threatening of an Elder Dragon overall. It's going to give SK Telecom a bit more out of combat regen, as well as movement speed. Banging just going to go ahead and solo it down while Cry catches away from topside. So we saw now Cry's turn, apparently, to get caught out on topside, split pushing a little bit too far. Really aggressive itemization for Peanut right now. Has a black cleaver on this Lee Sin. He just wants to do as much damage as he can and assassinate like he's threatening to do so right now. Smooth sidestep on the Deadly Flourish. Not going to be too worried. And with the information of SK Telecom's positioning, as well as some deeper vision this time, Cry's going to be able to go up to that top tower, and Duke already level 17 in the game, 1 level ahead of Smeb. That is going to be a very tanky Mangaka. That is going to be something very difficult for ROX Tigers to deal with. Teleports are up for everybody right now, and so we're just going to see Smeb split pushing in the bottom lane. And there's more mana down for Prey. Now, hasn't been fully stacked just yet. Zonia Hourglass is completed for both Cry and Smeb, so that's going to be important for them, as well as 1 Abyssal Scepter down onto Cry. Smeb looking like he's working towards either a Rylai's or a Death Cap with that needlessly large rod. Meanwhile, Bang working towards the Last Whisper item. We'll see the damage. Faker has completed the Hex Tech Core. Another Guardian Angel is on for Bangy as he's working towards what's probably going to be the makings of a Spirit Visage. Blocket of the Iron Solari for both supports. And ROX Tigers don't have any vision of this Baron right now that SK Telecom is starting. And SK Telecom not committing they're having Duke wait in base. They want him to teleport out just in case the members of ROX Tigers move in. And so far, ROX Tigers going to walk into this one, and Smeb going to get caught out early, going to get stunned up by the bubble, but Cry going into the backline, landing a Hemoplague and forcing Bang to heal and flash over the wall. Massive amount of sustain for that. Meanwhile, Peanut going to land the Dragon's Rage on the backline, and Duke engaging on the rest of ROX Tigers, but there's no fall from the team. And while Peanut goes down the back line, Duke's GA is popping now. The rest of SK Telecom is going to re-engage right now. There is a Zonius from Cry trying to just dodge the damage as much as he can. Smeb flashing in with the Zonius and the slicing Maelstrom. Not going to catch anyway. Has the Proto nearly gets a kill. Prey sniping off Duke in the back line. And meanwhile, the rest of SK Telecom dangerously low right now, but that is not going to be any sort of movement toward the Baron side. A crazy fight overall, and Duke going in a bit too deep and just giving up his GA to ROX Tigers while Peanut was trying to do some assassination work in the back line, and that is a 1-for-3 trade, though, for SK Telecom. So, Anyways, let's look at this fight start. So SK Telecom is doing the Baron bait. Smeb gets caught out early, gets snared by the Jin Deadly Flourish. Cry goes on the back lane, forces Bang to run away, and Peanut wants to try and finish up this kill. Wolf going to go ahead and flash on over and absorb the resonating strike from Peanut. Now with Peanut, there's just 4 members. He's not going to be able to get out. Meanwhile, as it's happening, Duke is in the front lines of the ROX Tigers, and not much to do it. Cry going to have the Zonias right through as he gets a little bit sting. Smeb flashes in. I think if he proto-belted and then Zonias, he would have been able to get a little bit more ticks of the Slicing Maelstrom off, so I think he could have played that just a little bit better, but overall, the Baron bait from SK Telecom, not going to go so well, and you still have a look at the gold lead right now. It's still up 2,000 gold for the ROX Tigers, but at this point, it doesn't mean that much, and it really is only coming from the fact that ROX Tigers has 4 turrets to 2, so we'll have to see though, but with Duke losing the GA, that's a lot of tankiness gone from the side of SK Telecom, so that could play a future role for the ROX Tigers in the upcoming team fight. And now, once again, teams are just going to set up around the Baron buff. SK Telecom having members in to sweep out Vision, establish that control, while Smeb pushing the bottom side. And now, another advantage for ROX Tigers is that Smeb has teleport while Duke teleported in. So, Smeb can go ahead and split push, create pressure in the bottom lane, and force someone from SK Telecom to answer it. And he's going to go ahead, use the Proto Belt just for a bit of extra wave clear, while SK Telecom tries to group up onto this mid tower, but there's going to be just enough wave clear from the Varus and the Karma to fend them off for now as a wave crashes into the bottom side inhibitor tower. And so now things are going to be fairly tense. Meb just going to go ahead and farm up a Scuttle Crab. The next Elder Dragon going to be spawning in about 2 minutes. Going to be another objective on the map. But honestly, I think that both teams are going to pretty much ignore that objective right now and just focus on the Baron. If this was the new patch where Elder Dragon wasn't hard to take for each Drake that you taken, I could see SK Telecom going for it. But I think Baron right now would just be is super important for both teams to break through the wave clear of the other side and be able to siege and force down towers. All right, we do have a quick Silver Sash completed onto both AD carries, so it's going to be a bit harder to catch them out with CC. Smeb looks like he's going for, could be a Rylai's, could be a Death Cap as well. Haven't seen that item completed. A Void Staff is now on to Cry, going to help him just chunk down the back line of SK Telecom even more than he already has been. He's been able to get a couple of good flanks despite the lack of kills or assists that's netted him. Faker now has the Rabadons completed. There is a Spirit Visage down for Bengi, as we talked about earlier, and a Frozen Heart for Duke. Not sure if that's the call that you make with that itemization. The cooldown reduction is nice, and the mana pool is also helpful for Duke, but not many of the the ROX Tigers champions are too auto attack reliant. I don't know. Maybe he could have gone for I don't know what he really itemized. Maybe he could have done a Sunfire Cape instead. Duke not gonna get the Twisted Advance onto Smeb as he completes the recall. And Peanut going to be able to find Wolf out right here, get a little bit of poke damage onto him as the rest of SK Telecom try and manage it. Peanut going to get caught in a bubble and taken out. Going to take the Q now. Kicks Faker into prey. What a great play from Peanut. And now Cry going to be able to engage in the backline. And there's Smeb coming in with the Protobell and the Flash. Going to chunk down. That is a dead kill for Wolf. Bang is dead now. And suddenly ROX Tigers out of nowhere through the virtue of Peanut pick up 3 kills. And now with Duke in the bottom lane, has a teleport up and available. It's going to be onto him and Bangy to stop ROX Tigers from taking this Baron, or perhaps cede it over to them. We're going to see what they do. Duke just going to go ahead and take his time, work on this bottom lane tower, but ROX Tigers, huge play from Peanut with follow-up from Prey and Cry to get 3 kills, and suddenly ROX Tigers find themselves a foothold in this game as Duke just trying to get a consolation prize with the bottom lane inner tower. And now ROX Tigers going to group up in the mid lane. Still about 20-second respawn timers on Faker and Bang. What are they going to do next? They're going to turn on over and look for this Elder Dragon. If they can take this both neutral objectives away from SK Telecom, that is huge. Bangy going to have to try and look for a play right here. Maybe see if they can steal it, but it's going to be but that's a tall order for Bang. Here he goes. He's popping the Righteous Glory, trying to pull ROX Tigers away, but that Elder Dragon way too low. And ROX Tigers at full power right now. Wow, that was an impeccable turn of events. Suddenly, the game was just wide open and a 5k gold lead established. Let's look how this starts. So Peanut lands a resonating strike onto Wolf, and Wolf doesn't think about its positioning, and that lets Peanut get this window in to kick Faker into ROX Tigers and Prey. Finishes up that kill with that removed and with no hard CC. Cry is just able to run amok in the back line. He has the Void Staff now, so he does tons of damage. Smeb follows up with the Slicing Maelstrom just to force them back. And right now we see on the live feed right now, though, SK Telecom's fighting back. The current call is already down. Here comes the tile weight over the members of ROX Tigers, trying to group up on this mid lane tower and prevent ROX from doing anything. But they burned 2 ultimates for that, and nothing's going to be available. It's technically 3 with the Vengeful Maelstrom, but that's going to be up soon enough anyway. It's not too big of a deal. It's going to be up before the next fight. And so now, ROX Tigers, though, about to have a minute left on the Elder Dragon and 2 minutes left on Baron buff. Let's see what they're able to do with this. They do have the true damage burn. It's going to help them get through the front line of SK Telecom, as well as these turrets, a lot easier. And with so many shields, so many heals, ROX Tigers are going to be able to take some of the turret damage themselves. Here comes a minion wave. That tower is going to fall. SK Telecom are forced to retreat further into their base. Let's see how much deeper can ROX Tigers force this knife into them. 44 seconds left on Elder Dragon right now. Bit more of a poke. There's a Chain of Corruption immediately cleansed by Bang, so that cooldown is gone, but it's going to spread over to Duke. Hit him a bit, but the ROX Tigers focusing down the mid lane tower. It's down to half health. It's gone now. SK Telecom are forced to cede this ground. 30 seconds still left on the Elder Dragon as ROX Tigers take the middle inhibitor for themselves. A huge play for them in this game right now. This gives them so much pressure in the mid lane, and now they're going to go ahead, rotate over. Gonna go ahead, take the blue buff, give it to Cry. And they have a massive minion wave in the bottom lane. The Elder Dragon buff is going to be gone, so SK Telecom could look for a fight. They don't have to worry about the true damage burn anymore, but there's a massive minion wave, and I don't know that with the Baron buff they're going to be able to clear it. We're probably going to see Faker burn the Chaos Storm. All the ultimates are online right now. We're currently missing a flash on Cry, but Smeb has his backup right now, and that is the only other combat summoner spell in the game currently that is down. And here comes the minion wave for ROX Tigers. Cry going to go ahead and advance, trying to hit somebody with the Tides of Blood, and not a lot of damage being done in this tower right now. Cry does get caught out, forced to use the pool as the Chaos Storm is dropped onto them. Duke trying to get away, and ROX Tigers are currently split right now. Duke looking for an angle, but he's not going to be able to hit the engage. Current call is now down, and that is the ultimate for SK Telecom. And now, when you look on the side of ROX Tigers, they have all of their ultimates ready to use, minus the Chain of Corruption and the Mantra, which is going to be up soon enough. Cry, Smeb, the dive combination is real. Gorilla going to get caught out a bit, just poked out. There's going to be some poke line out there as Cry going to go ahead and position himself in the mid lane to get some super minions in, threatening the Nexus towers maybe. And now there's only 5 seconds left on the Baron buff though, and with that, we'll have to see if ROX Tigers are going to be able to actually finish off this bottom inhibitor tower, or if they're just going to retreat. Bangy, popping the Righteous Glory, going to get stunned though before he can run down onto the back line. And ROX Tigers, they want this turret. Cry positioning on their left-hand side, trying to see if there's an angle to go in for it. ROX Tigers though not able to do a whole lot with this tower, now being able to sustain somewhat through the poke. And SK Telecom successfully defending the bottom inhibitor tower, but the mid lane inhibitor is down, and there is another big minion wave in the top lane that Duke is going to go ahead and answer. So that's a massive turn of events for all of SK Telecom, and now a couple of new items have come in. There is a death cap completed for Smeb. Peanut did complete a GA at some point, and Peanut actually being a bit crafty right now. He has a BF sword and a lot of AD. Bang doesn't expect this. The Resonating Strike is going to land on him, and Bang forced a flash now. So Peanut getting an important summoner spell with that play. Classic Peanut, my friends. Just always entertaining to watch. That is a Mikhail's completed now for Prey, so we're going to be able to get a little bit of lifesteal. And now we have the gold earnings during the 3.5 minute of Baron buff, so the Baron power play, as it was, is now 2,800 for ROX Tigers. Peanut now going to return onto Bang, and he's just going to quickly follow it up. Not much Bang can do. He's just dead as Smeb completes the teleport. And now there's a 50-second death timer onto Bang. What can ROX Tigers do with this? One thing to note, though, they don't have a Baron up minion wave, and Bang is by no means the ROX Tigers wave clear. It is theoretically possible for SK Telecom to defend this bottom inner tower with just Faker. But we're going to have to see that is a dangerously low tower, and without any carry, ROX Tigers could just have Cry and Smeb flash Proto Belt onto the back line and go for it. In fact, Cry's going to get caught out as the tower goes down. That is a great Chain of Corruption landed onto Faker. Finally gets able to flash out, but Smeb just cooking everybody in the Slicing Maelstrom must fly. Flash forward. That's another 2 kills for ROX Tigers, and this could actually be GG with Super Minion Wave coming into the base. ROX Tigers going to wait on that one as they have all members alive right now. Duke finally reviving with the GA. Bangy trying to defend the towers by himself. His GA is going to be popped right now, and ROX Tigers going to quickly finish on the next tower, get a kill on the Bang. Prey not going to be the one picking a kill. Instead, it's Smeb, and ROX Tigers, after a tense couple of minutes in this game, going to end it 2-0 against the world champions SK Telecom T1. One last tower dive for Bang, just to stat pad the kills for Cry, and there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. ROX Tigers winning this semifinal matchup against SK Telecom. Now, again, while there's not much on the line for SK Telecom here, again, they're going to be going to the IEM World Championship in the future anyway, just by being invited. It is very cool to see ROX Tigers step up and take the series. However, it wasn't a best of 5. And we don't really know how serious SK Telecom was. For all we know, they probably took the time off after winning the World Championship. Like, hey guys, let's just relax. We'll play the KeSPA Cup for funsies. And so, not too much to take away from it. But again, I think it's important that we saw Cry perform fairly well against Faker. He held his own in the laning phase. And ROX Tigers were able to pretty much just do what we recognize from that team. It was a very cool experience to see some of the subs get experience. You can kind of see Coma not really too stressed out by that loss, but still, now the ROX Tigers are going to be going on to the KeSPA Cup. Going to be able to see Kongdu monsters over there, so we should see how that one goes. It will be a best of 5, so do have to say, thank you all for tuning in to this casting broadcast by CD Mangaka. Going to be signing out for the night.